I've sewn two things. I'm not gonna lie, a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I'm so happy I took the plunge and did it. So cute. Sporty type skirts, but they can also be not sporty. It just depends on how you want them to be. One's for working out, one's just for regular life. You're gonna see adorable. Pull up, neat, lined. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing, and I have some cute fun skirts to share with you. A little bit of a leggy episode towards the end because one of the ones I sewed is pretty short, but it's intentional. This is a new pattern released from GreenStyle called Bubble Skirt, and it's so adorable. It's for knit fabrics. And I know the bubble skirts have come around, you know, decades ago in the 50s, in the 80s, in the 2000s, early 2000s, you know, they tend to come and go. I would say it's a little bit of a trendy item. And that's why it's out of my comfort zone, because I try to keep it really classic, really safe. But there's some styles that I just sometimes really want to sew up anyway. When I saw this liner, and I've seen these around, I think they're just so cute. The way I always saw this skirt, you know, my vision for them is that they're casual, sporty skirts. Deciding to do the pattern test was pretty easy. Just gifting myself the experience of sewing something I really want to sew and that I really want to have, even though it's trendy-ish, which is usually not what I do. This is super cute. There are various lengths, so it's really short, sort of mid-thigh, one at the knee. There's a midi length as well. These are lined skirts. The lining is actually what pulls the skirt up, you know, and gives it that bubble effect. You can have that bubble effect two ways. One is to gather the skirt onto the lining or to do pleats onto the lining. They have waistbands, pull up, two styles, yoga waistband. I really like this one. It's curved. On the front, dips lower, and at the back, it's more straight. Super easy way to sew it. The other one is just a really easy rectangle waist where you put an actual elastic in there. You can top stitch. And then there's two silhouettes on the skirt. One's a little wider, so you have more gathering into these waistbands. The other one has less gathering into the waistbands. All of them gather into the waistband, just one more than the other. I chose the less gathering option just because it suits me best. You also have curved pocket openings on the side. I didn't do them with either of mine because I felt my fabric choices were a little lightweight for them. Otherwise, I would have done them. And let's be honest, I don't use pockets. I don't use pockets, so it wasn't something that I really needed to have here on my skirts. An optional feature in the pattern are shorties. They're included in the pattern. They're really simple shorties with no side seam, so easy to sew. Optional gusset in the shorties that you can sew to the waist and then put on the waistband, and then you're going to be super comfortable. I like this because then it makes it a SKORT as such, and I always knew that one of these was going to be the shortest version with the shorties, so I could wear it to the gym. And my second version was going to be at the knee that I could wear sporty like regular life, not for the gym. Because the bubble skirt is a brand new pattern at GreenStyle, it's going to be 30% off through next Tuesday, the 18th of November. I'll leave you my affiliate link at the top of the comment section, pinned, super easy to find. If you end up clicking on it and purchasing, I do receive a small commission back from GreenStyle, one of the ways I make an income creating helpful content here on YouTube. There is a youth version coming in the next couple of days. Mega adorable for little girls. I wish I had my nieces around so I could have sewn them some. You need light to medium weight knits for this one. If you're doing the elasticated waistband, which is wider, that has actual elastic inside, you need your fabric to stretch a little bit less, 25%. If you're doing the yoga waistband, which does not have an elastic and is fitted, then your fabric needs to stretch at least 50% horizontally, vertically as well. You're going to be the most comfortable. For the actual skirt itself, it doesn't have to stretch that much because it's all gathered. There's some ease. The lining, of course, is more fitted on the inside. You definitely cannot make this in a woven. It's 100% designed for knit fabrics. So athletic knit, swim fabric, the main fabrics, cotton lycra maybe if you want something more structured. I went non-traditional here. I used a single brush poly for one of mine, and I used a really light athletic knit for the other one. One is lined with ITY, the other one is lined with another athletic knit that is almost transparent. It's very thin. So I went lightweight here, and because of that, I did some tricks to the waistband. just because these fabrics weren't amazing for the yoga waistband. It's a yoga waistband that's folded onto itself, so it does need to have some good recovery and spandex, which both my fabrics didn't have. You're gonna see how I got around the waistband issue and they still look amazing. If you want the elastic waistband, you need 1.5 inch elastic for that. For the shorties, I used swim fabric, which was the one that I had on hand in the color that I needed. I could have used an athletic knit, I just didn't have one to match. So swim fabric is a good choice as well for the shorties and even for the waistband. Sizing at GreenStyle has changed over the last couple of months, and now you have so many sizes from A1 through to M3. Each size has a 1 inch increment on the waist and hips, so it makes it super easy to get a really accurate. You don't have to be between sizes usually. So at this point in time, my waist 33, my hips are 43, which makes me an F1. So what I did to keep it simple was just cut the waistband that I needed, and then the skirt is an F1. Easy to gather and mold them together. I didn't need to blend between lines or anything like that. Just kept it super simple. I didn't make any length adjustments or fitting adjustments. For my shorter skirt, I cut out the shortest cut line, and then the longer one, the second one, which is supposed to be at the knee. For me, it ended up a couple inches above the knee. Maybe I could have made my longer skirt 1 inch longer in hindsight, but I think it's still super cute and super wearable as it is. Know that there is a longer below the knee length midi as well if you want longer. I did see quite a lot of the tester versions in the midi length, and it looks super cute. If I wore midi skirts, I would have made one. I just don't wear midi skirts. I'm going to show you a lot of the sewing. You're going to know exactly how to whip this up. It's super easy to whip up, focusing on the waistband, the way it's supposed to be sewn. You're going to see that I did a contrast waistband in this tutorial with a cotton lycra, and then it's the different color. So you're going to see the way it's supposed to be sewn, but then I'm going to show you the trick. Here are my pieces for the bubble skirt from GreenStyle. I'm sewing a length that's going to be above my knee. There's longer versions and there's a shorter version. Both the back and the front are on the fold. It's really easy to know which one is the front because it's got this lower dip right there for the waistline, and that's because I'm sewing the yoga waistband. If you're doing the elasticated waistband, then it's more straight up there on the top. These are the yoga waistband pieces. You can see that they're curved. That is the front, that is the back. Super easy, you just sew the sides and then fold it, and that's why we've got that little shape right there, one of each. And this is my lining piece that goes on the inside. You can see that the lining is a lot shorter than this. If I place it on top, it's quite a big difference, and that's what's going to bring this hem up towards the inside, and you can see it's way wider. That's what's going to do the cute bubble effect. Now this is a single brush poly. Whatever bubble effect is going to happen is going to be more subdued than if I'd use something more structured. That is my goal here. On the front, you can cut a slant off there and add pockets. So there's 2 pocket pieces. You can see that's the shape. That's what you sew to the skirt. This is the one that goes behind it. Super easy. But pockets on single brush poly, I'm not a fan. It's just way too flimsy. At the bottom, there's 2 ways that you can sew that onto the liner. One is to gather it on evenly. The other one is to do these little pleats, and they are marked right there at the bottom. So for this longer version, I'm going to have some fun with the pleat. With this print, it's really hard to see my marks for the pleats, but they are there. I've put pins on them so you can see them better. So that's one pleat. Very close to this one, there's another pleat. And this is just 1/2, so there's 4 pleats on the front, 4 pleats on the back. And I like to sew them. It's just so much easier, I find. So I'm just going to put these pins together right here so that they match up. And I'm going to put a pin right there. And I'm going to sew this pleat down for about 1.5 inches. I use a long stitch length number 5 so that it's super easy to remove later. And it's just so much easier to sew them down, I find, rather than just trying to fold them. So here you're seeing me sew a few of these, but there's 8. It's all the same thing. It's all the same on the front and the back pieces of the skirt. After doing all those little pleats, I've put the front and the back together, right sides together, and I'm quickly going to sew the side seams. Here I have 2 pleats. Remember, there's going to be 2 pleats on the other side, and then on the front, on the back, there's 8 of these. But this is the side right here. So we need to push the volume of the pleats going towards the center of the skirt from the wrong side. From the right side, it's going to be the opposite. But for them to turn out how it's expected, if you do this from the wrong side, just make sure you press the pleats. You push the pleats towards the center of the skirt. I'm going to quickly baste that down. For this side, it's just easier to do it from the right side of the fabric because I'm following the direction of the pleats. But from the other side, you're going to see I'm on the wrong side of the skirt. Long stitch length just to keep these flat and in place. Here is the main skirt. You can see the lovely print here. Pleats are down here at the bottom. The waist is there on the top and it's right sides out. Now I've got my lining wrong sides out. I have a pin here so that I don't get confused what is the top and what is the bottom of the skirt. I put that right in the beginning. And so this is wrong sides out. I pressed my seams open right there. This is ITY, by the way. And now I'm just going to push the main skirt into the lining skirt. And when you do that, you're going to end up with them being right sides together. And what we want to line up is the bottom. So I'm going to pin the side seams of the skirt and the side seam of the lining on the bottom on both sides. Okay, there they are, right sides together. They fit 1 to 1, matching the side seams, matching the bottom edges. They curl. So I've taken my time to pin everything. And now I'm going to serge it all together. Super, super simple. And it's going to unite the bottom of the skirt. It was so much easier to have these pleats sewn and flat while sewing these 2 layers together, I find. So now I can just pull off these threads. They come flying off. I sewed them with a very long stitch length and now the pleats are free. So I'm going to take my time to do that. Let's just extend it and now we're going to fold it wrong sides together and match up the waist on the top. So once we have the waist together here, if we stretch it, you can see that the lining is shorter than the bottom. So that's going to make the hem sort of fold up to the inside and you're not going to see the lining. And now when we baste these 2 layers together, the lining is smaller than the waist on the top. Probably going to divide this into 8, put all the pins, stretch it out in small sections so that I can sew it together. And then the skirt can act as one so we can put on the waistband. I've already got the pins here. I stretched this into several sections so it's all nice and neat. And I'm just using a narrow zigzag on the top. I'm going fairly close to the edge to sew these 2 layers together. Now I'm doing some gathering stitches on the waist area. This wobbly bit is my basting. The second line you see there is the first row for my gathering. So I did it around 1/4 inch away, also a long stitch length. And now I'm doing the second row at 5/8. When we attach the skirt to the waist, I'm going to use 3/8. So I'm going to land sort of in the middle. And we need to do gathering stitches on the front and the back because the waistband is smaller. It's going to be a little bit gathered into the waistband. This is a yoga waistband option. If you're doing the straight waistband with an elastic inside, then it's just a rectangle, but this one is shaped. The smaller one is the back, the bigger one is the front, but they have the same shape here on the side seam. So we're going to get this sewn. I'm going to do this with the sewing machine because I like pressing these open. So I'm going to sew this with a narrow zigzag as well. Just to relieve some of the tension here in the smallest part, I'm going to do a little snip. Not that big, just enough. On this side as well, I'm going to run to get this pressed open. There it is open, and now we're just going to fold this wrong sides together on both sides. And that's how this yoga waistband is formed. And it's not a rectangle, it's nice and shaped. I think it's genius. You can see that I'm using a different type of fabric for my waistband. The single brush poly was not going to cut it for this waistband. It's way too flimsy. I would have had a skirt that would have been falling down, so I preferred to go with something more structured. And this is a nice cotton lycra that looks like denim. This curved area is the front. The straight area here is the back. Okay, keeping this skirt wrong sides up, I put my waistband in here, making sure to match the front of the skirt, which was dipped lower. And this is the taller part of the waistband, and then the straighter part at the back matches the back part. Matched up the sides, pinned the centers, did my gathering. So I'm all set to sew. I'm going to do this on the sewing machine, keeping the 3/8 seam allowance as per the pattern, and I'm using a narrow zigzag. And once I've done with that, I'm going to remove some of these basting stitches just to remove all that thread. And then I'm going to serge the edge, and I'm going to be done with the skirt. Check out my Lumia jacket from GreenStyle. I made this one, I think in 2020 or 2021. Cotton lycra, it looks like denim. I hacked it to be sleeveless because it's supposed to have sleeves. I also have one with sleeves, and it's super nice. It's a great little jacket when you just want something extra but still keeping the arms fresh. And it's got a full zipper. It's got a collar over here. I did a hack with the yoke at the back and have some pin tuck details that I did something extra. And it's really nice. Here is my first version. You see that I don't have the cotton lycra here anymore. I have my single brush poly on the front. I took pictures and even filmed the video showing you the skirt with that dark gray cotton lycra, and I thought it was fine. It's really good for you to see all the details and the shape of the waistband, how it's supposed to be sewn and all of that. Just couldn't get past the fact that I really wanted the main waistband here. The fabric is not great. So this is actually just one layer, and on the inside I have the cotton lycra. You're going to see how to do that with my second version because I filmed it there for you. But that's the way it looks. You know, the curve here on the front dips lower. It's slightly gathered into the waistband. At the back, the waistband is straighter, but it's still not a rectangle. It's straight on the top. It's got a seam on the sides right here. And at the bottom, I always chose the pleats because I found it easier to sew that onto the lining. You can see the lining ends up shorter and it just brings that up like that. I think it's really cute. That is how the lining looks like on the inside. You can see it's shorter and it brings up the hem. Let's check out this cutie on. Here's my super cute bubble skirt from GreenStyle. The waistband here is size G2 and then the rest of the skirt is size F1, matches my waist and hip circumference. This is a single brush poly for the main part of the skirt. The waistband is a cotton lycra with more spandex. Looks like denim. I have a yoga waistband option. It's curved lower in the front, sort of straight in the back. And it is a bubble skirt. I've got pleats on the bottom and a piece of lining on the inside that brings the skirt hem up. There are lots of lengths in this skirt. This is the second length. There's a shorter one. There's longer ones as well. And on the inside, I used ITY. The lining piece is shorter and brings the hem up, so you don't really see that hem. Instead of pleats at the bottom, you can do gathers, and check out this waistband, super pretty. I really like it. The skirt is a little wider than the waistband, so it's slightly gathered onto the bottom of the waistband. It's really cute. I really like this light fabric. I've got something tucked in so you could really see the details. Okay, you just saw my waistband in the contrasting cotton lycra. I would just love it to be the main fabric. So I did find a piece of scrap, not from when I cut this skirt. I made a pair of pants months ago and I had this tiny bit left over in another box of scraps. I got enough to make this waistband again and I basically unstitched it all and everything. So I'm super happy. I still have the cotton lycra inside, but I have the double brush poly visible and I just love it. It's how it should have been from the beginning. Remember, you can always get your seam ripper and do different things. It just took a few minutes of my time to do it again, but I'm so much happier now. I still think it was useful for you to see the contrasting waistband because you can see the shape better. So here's the curve on the front, straighter on the back, slightly gathered into the waistband. Super lovely. I could definitely dress this up. I have a cami tucked in, some little sandals, a linen jacket that matches the skirt. And I think this is great. I would wear this to church and it's one way I could be a little less casual with the skirt. I think the design can be super versatile. It just depends on how you style it, how you can wear it. Blue, what can I say? I love this color. I love this print. You know, I did the waistband differently here in a contrast because the single brush poly isn't great for the yoga waistband. That's why I have the black one. And now I have a winter option, some tights, some little boots, a leather jacket, my little skirt. It's not too short. I think with black tights, you can disguise a little that the skirt is a few inches above the knee. This is the limit in length for me to wear out. I could wear shorter skirts for the gym, but for a regular skirt to wear out in my life, this is the shortest I'll go. And I really love this winter look with the leather jacket. I think this is a really cool outfit as well. For my second one, I decided to do the waistband hack. I should have done that from the beginning with the first one. So I'm going to show you how I'm dealing with this waistband. I'm creating another layer on the inside, another layer on the outside. I'm also going to use an elastic on the top, just 1/4 inch, just for that little bit more firmness over there because fabric is pretty flimsy. So let's see. I'm also doing the shorties with the second version. So I'm just going to show you how all these layers come together at the waist as well. For this skirt, I have a little bit left over to do the waistband, but because this fabric is not amazing for the waistband done in the way that the tutorial has it, where it's the whole piece that you fold over onto itself like you saw, I'm just going to do half of it, and this is going to be the visible side. And this is the front, that's the back. On the straight edge here, I'm going to add 3/8 seam allowance on the top, and then I'm going to use this piece to cut out the inner layer. That's going to be of a really heavy, structured, amazing navy athletic knit that's going to hold it up. And then from the outside, it's going to look the same, but from the inside, it's going to provide the structure. I'm just going to put a plastic ruler here to mark my seam allowance. 3/8 there on the top, that's going to be extra. This is a single layer of fabric because the waistband was drafted to be entire like that, so it's not on the fold. So this straight one is going to be for the back. On this one, I have the straight edge here on the bottom. There's my extra seam allowance here. So there are my outer waistband pieces. Same as the main fabric, it's going to look super pretty. Very floppy fabric, not amazing, but the inner layer is going to make up for it. Here are my waistband pieces. I use these to cut these. These are the outer layers, same as the main fabric. These are the inner layers. They're going to have a seam there on the top instead of being on the fold, but this is going to be more structured. This is swim fabric, super nice weight, lots of spandex, great recovery. I am thinking of sewing a small 1/4 inch elastic there on that seam when I sew it together, just to hold it up and so it's a little firmer. This fabric, extremely flimsy. Here are my 2 waistband layers. I have already sewn the side seams right there for both of them. So now I'm just going to take this one, flip it to the right side so that they're right sides together. Make sure the back is with the back and the front is with the front. And I'm going to slide one inside the other. And it's all 1-to-1 because they're the same size. And now I'm going to sew on the round. I'm going to do that with my narrow zigzag. I feel I have more control. I also left 3/8 seam allowance there when I decided to do this extra seam. I have done this before and I've never had stitches popping. So that's what I'm going to do. And then once I've already got the seam, on that seam allowance there, I'm going to come in and sew a small elastic with a zigzag on it. After sewing the seam, you can see it right there. You can see I did a zigzag that is not so narrow, but it's not a full-on zigzag. It's just a little bit wider. And then here I have my elastic. I cut my elastic initially the same circumference on the top, but then I reduced about 1 inch just to make sure it's nice and snug, but it's not going to be super, super tight either. So I've divided in 4. I've pinned it along there. I have already closed up the back there. I just did that by hand really quickly. And this is just a 1/4 inch elastic that I'm going to sew all the way around with a normal zigzag this time, not a tiny one. I'm only adding this elastic because one of my layers is extremely flimsy and I don't want my waistband to feel flimsy. Even though my inner layer is really, really good, I feel like it still needs something extra and it doesn't happen all the time. So there it is. Now I'm just going to flip it so that the seams are wrong sides together. And now it's basically the same thing. You know, I went through the extra work of hiding the seam, adding the elastic and all of that. Now this is going to be the outside of my waistband. This is going to be the inside and I'm going to sew it onto the skirt in the exact same way. For this version that's shorter, it's only going to be activewear. I'm going to be sewing the shorties underneath. For the other one, not necessary. I can wear my undies under there. It's for normal wear. But for the gym, I love a short skirt with a shorty. Super easy because there's no side seam. All you need to do is sew the crotch seams just as it is and then sew the inseams, your hem, and then your waist is going to be raw on the top to match the skirt. Now this one comes
lower here on the front because I'm doing the yoga waistband. If I was doing the rectangle waistband, then the cut line for the shorts is a little higher and a little straighter there on the top. So make sure you note that for the shorties and the lining that there's a lower cut line if you're doing the yoga waistband. I've made my shorts, I've even hemmed them, I've slid them into the skirt. This is going to be the right side of the shorts touching the wrong side of the skirt, so it makes sense. I've matched up the center up front with the center back. Remember, they have that dip in the curve, so I made sure everything matches, same as the sides. The shorts don't have a side seam, but I divided that into two and just marked that quarter point there. You can see the shorts are smaller than the skirt. So I'm going to baste them together from the inside. I'm going to go ahead and stretch the shorts to match this skirt. Lots of layers here when you have the shorts. I'm going to have the shorts, the lining, and the main. They're all thinnish layers, so it's not going to be extremely bulky. Once I have all the layers sewn together, then I can just treat it like the regular skirt, do my gathering stitches, and attach on the waistband like you saw with the other one. But first, I'm going to do this, another basting stitch, a long stitch length, and I'm just joining these 3 layers together, stretching the shorts as I go to match the skirt.
Check out this little cutie. It looks really short, like it just looks so short. But on the body, it'll end up mid-thigh. It's not so short. So I'm really happy. Check out this print. It's just the cutest thing. It's navy with pink and white. Absolutely love it. So nice. I also have the pleats here. And on the inside, I have a black lining. Super light athletic knit. I mean, it's almost transparent. It's that light. So this is perfect for working out. It's only going to be for working out, gym or walking or doing something. I'm not going to try and dress this up and wear it places because it is very short, but it was intentional. It's so nice. I mean, this is just the same thing. It's just that I have the seam on the top. I have the elastic right there. I thought it was needed, and I have swim fabric for the inner waistband, and also the shorties are in there as well. Shorties, super easy. Look at this. Very easy. You just sew the crotch and then the inseam and the hem, and then you have a raw waistband that you sew onto everything else. So it's all super nice on the inside. That's how it looks like. It's all enclosed. Very nice. Love how this turned out. I think this is mega adorable. I can't wait to wear it to the gym. Let's see this one on. This is my second bubble skirt, and I made this one exclusively for working out, so I chose the shortest length. I love this. It's so cute. This is a really light athletic knit, and I have another athletic knit lining on the inside that's black. I have an actual tank I've worn for over 10 years. It's very light, and it goes perfectly with this. So the print has a little bit of magenta pink in there, and I think it's super cute. I do have it tucked in at the front so you can actually see the skirt and the waistband, but when I work out, I'd probably just wear it loose. Navy shorts underneath and the black lining on the inside. All very light, very fresh. I kept my same yoga waistband, curved here lower in the front. Really nice. Straighter at the back. I have the light layer in the front, but on the inside, I have an athletic knit in there, nice and firm. And I also have a 1/4 inch elastic sewn into that extra seam. So this is a hack of the waistband, but it still looks the same. It just allowed me to use this same main fabric here that was a little bit flimsy to just do the original fold over method. I think this is perfect as a workout skirt, little skirts. It's what I use when it gets hot, which is most of the year here in Brazil. I have a few of them, but this is the cutest one ever. It's just so adorable. I love the print, the style. It's short, just perfect for working out. And a little bit different to what everyone wears, which is also super nice when you can create things that are super unique. Here's another cute little workout outfit. This would be great for a very long walk where I could be super comfortable. I wouldn't have problems with chafing or anything because I have the shorties underneath and the skirt is short and cute. It's going to keep me fresh, and it goes beautifully with the white tank as well. Again, I have the pleated option at the bottom. You can also do gathers onto the liner, but I just really like doing the pleats. I don't really think you can tell the huge difference between the pleat and the gathers, so do whatever is nicer for you. Another sporty look for another nice long walk. I've got a pink cami tucked in under my skirt, and this is the Lumia jacket from GreenStyle that I hacked into sleeveless. It's a cotton lycra that looks like denim. Great for a casual look. And remember, I'm not trying to dress this up at all. It is a sporty skirt / skort with the shorties. It's just cute and short. only meant for casual things, sporty things, active things. So happy with my skirt. My very short one, my less short one. It's both short. I'm very thrilled with the result. I know I'm going to wear them a lot. Gift to myself, sewing something that I normally wouldn't sew, but I really wanted to give it a go. I knew it was going to be adorable and I'm going to enjoy them. Just a whole different style I never thought I would have sewn. So I'm very, very, very happy. I think it was a really fun sew and I love all the options. Having the shorties in there is amazing, super comfortable. This one doesn't have them, this one does. So I always love a good little skirt. I think it's super practical for everyday life. Remember, there's a youth version coming and that's going to be super cute as well. Highly recommend. Remember, it's 30% off. All the information down below. That's all from me. I'm going to see you very soon. See you then. Bye.